Cześć, siemko, witajcie, z tej strony Domi, to jest 14 odcinek z Sherlock Holmes. Rozpoczynamy czwartą sprawę.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Afera w Abbey. Później pisałem Holmes, otrzymał wyzwanie od inspektora rejestracji, czyli wychodzi z Abbey. Widziano na tym wysokim tekstu. Dobra. Pamiętajcie, łapkę do subskrypcji na kanale i napiszcie na spam sobie podoba. Więc subskrybujcie kanał LDOD.
The letter is on the
list. To jest stół, na którym leży.
I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. A wax seal with the monogram E.B. The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
Dobra, przeczytajmy list. Abbey, drogi panie Holmes, będę niewymownie wdzięczny, jeśli pan do mnie pozwolicie dołączyć do udziału pomocy przy sprawie, która wydaje się wyjątkowo godna uwagi. Z pomocą przyjdzie do pana. Uwolnię tylko pan do mnie dołoży wszelkie starania na miejsce. To jest to naruszone. Proszę jednego posła list, który mam pozostawić to Sir Elstrand oraz do klubu. Z powodzeniem inspektor Lestrade.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always, it appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the E.B. monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Musimy teraz badać sprawę morderstwa w Abbey Grange. Dobra, ruszamy do Abbey Grange właśnie.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you had best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid, Teresa Wright.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Dobra, sprawdź pokój, w którym dochodzi do siebie Lady Brackenstall. Jakieś drzwi.
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had hurt them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
Możecie rozpoznać je. Świecę silniki. Prawdopodobnie. Rosyjski stary silnik.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time. Out of control. Again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
Your ladyship?
Dobra, mówimy o tym podejrzaną. W tej sprawie spotkały się tylko dwie osoby. Takie ważne. Tutaj pozostałe 7 spotkamy w ostatniej sprawie. Najbardziej możliwe, że ta sprawa jest krótka. Podam miejsce zbrodni w jadalni. Do siebie. Tu jest jakaś Teresa.
Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir. As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw 3 men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
Kolejna postać. Z jakiegoś chyba posprawamy. Dobra, o, tu mamy jakąś załatwić coś.
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame. This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it.
Nieco 2 tygodnie temu niesławnej rodzinie włamywacy znajomych pod nazwiskiem Randall znów zrobiło się głośno, aby dokonali wydanego włamania do jednej z zamożnych posiadłości w Sydenham. Policja jest blisko na sprawy, lecz szczegóły zbrodni nie zostały podane do wiadomości publicznej, włączają nacisk ofiary, ofiarek przestępstwa. Dokładnie opisał 3 mężczyzn z planecie, pomoże policji stworzyć kompletny profil sprawców. Pragnę przestrzec naszych szanownych celników przed tą niebezpieczną zajką i pozwolenie sobie przedstawić Państwu pełną
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
To jest do końca. Co to było? Gang działał, że dużo czasu składaje się z 3 członków ojca i 2 synów. Najstarszy członek Zajki nazywa się Jack Randall. Ma ponad 40 lat, siwe włosy, jest przeciętnego wzrostu i budowy, ponieważ jest on mózgiem wszystkich pracy, sprawuje ścisłą kontrolę nad swoimi synami, którzy są podobno w wieku lat. Różnią się fizycznych białych synów Williama Randalla jest wysokim, barwczystym mężczyzną nieproporcjonalnie małej głowy. Młodszy z braci Melvin Randall jest nieco wątlejszy budowy i można go określić mianem chudego jak stopa. Gang jest poszukiwany nie tylko za lekkie i częste kradzieże i włamania, lecz również wiążące się z wyjątkową brutalnością piractwo, którym bandyci parali się przed powrotem do Anglii. Radzi im mieć się na baczności, mam nadzieję, że Państwo po prostu będą bezpieczni. Dobra. Mamy już
Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship? Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
otwarte. Sirius, stan. Pański obecny stan fizyczny i psychiczny jest niezwykle niepokojący. Wiele wskazuje na zaburzenia metabolizmu wątroby. Podczas ostatniego spotkania pański oczy był przekrwiony, zaś skóra miała żółtawą barwę. Pański oczy natomiast miał zapach typowy dla osób, których występuje choroba wątroby. Do uchodzenia dochodzą ropnie płuc, o których rozmawialiśmy. Kurczywości, o których pan wspomniał, są efektem zmian w układzie nerwowym. To z kolei zostało wywołane przez nadużywanie alkoholu. Podobnie jest w przypadku dreszczy. W trakcie badania pańska wątroba zdawała się wyjątkowo twarda, co jest jednym z objawów rozwijającej się marskości. Istnieje również podejrzenie wodobzusa, nagromadzenia płynu w jamie otrzewnej, na co wyraźnie wskazuje napuchnięty brzuch. Ból pod lewym zabrem sugeruje chorobę trzustki, która może doprowadzić do śmiertelnego, ostrego zapalenia trzustki. Pański stan może stanowić zagrożenie dla innych. Nadużywanie alkoholu korzystnie wpływa na pańską samokontrolę i zwiększa agresję i z chęcią pomaga panu rozprawić się z tym problemem. Istnieje kilka sposobów leczenia.
Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care. It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was especially hard for her.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one? So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
My mistress is very...
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me. A fur trader's cabin. The head was cracked with the force of the blow. That must be the murder weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon. It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation. A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. Chateau Calon-Séguin. This glass has some wine traces, but it is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other two are clear. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to. This is the sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. A fur trader's cabin. A deer hunt. The hunting scene. An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. These wine bottles are expensive, and mostly from France. These wine bottles are This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen. A bottle of wine is missing here. The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware.
The death was instant.
I've searched outside for footprints, without any luck.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
Your... Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut. Let us try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope. The fibers from this cut appear to be different. The fibers from this cut appear to be different. If I cut the rope with a knife, it matches the original. Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire on this case. I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's...
Someone should take Toby for a walk.
Zaraz, idziemy do Abbey Grange.
Search, Toby. The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware. The scent leads to the well. I should check it. The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route. This hook might be bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved. gardening tools, nothing of great interest. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty. There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it? If only I had something with which I... The wheel handle is old and rusty. It seems to be used infrequently. If only I had something... Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence. The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware. We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship?